This is the Guardian Sage. I am right now doing a video on a web-based game called Starfleet Commander by Blue Frog Gaming. As you can see on your screens, I've already typed in the search and hit enter. I'm doing this on my phone, so it's providing a widescreen view. I'm going to try to avoid flipping between vertical and horizontal mode for general convenience. Today is just an introductory video, so we're not going to be actually getting into the gameplay itself yet, but I will be introducing you to the various universes and the overall Wikipedia for the site. As you can see here, it popped up relatively quickly for the Starfleet Commander. Please note that this is Starfleet Commander, not Starfleet Command, or Star Trek Fleet Command, even. And those are completely different games than this one. As I said, this is a web-based game, not an app, nor is it something that you can purchase separately. So, as long as you have a web browser, you should be able to play the game. Alright, now let's see here. Let's check out this here. This will take us to the wiki. This particular page is for the universes, and there are a bunch of them. As it states here, there is Universe 1, also referred to as Original or just plain Starfleet Commander. Starfleet Commander Extreme was the second universe produced. Universe 2 was the third. And I actually, when I first started playing the game myself, I actually came in sometime between, I can't remember if it was Universe 2 or when Nova had first come out. I believe it was actually when it was Universe 2. At the time that Universe 2, I first started playing then, and then Nova came out and introduced a number of new ships. With this, as you can see here on the screen, it shows a whole bunch of ships and buildings that were introduced as new things, and they were retroactively introduced into the older universes. As such, all subsequent universes have these things that they introduced in Nova. There is Conquest, and then Hired Guns, and Hired Guns. And they then came out with Universe 3. Irradion was effectively a spin-off from the Hired Guns universe, where it introduces the new resource of Irradion to the basic resources, and it allows for additional things, but it does not have all the same stuff that is in Hired Guns. Hired Guns to date is the most complex version of all of them, and interestingly enough, there is only one universe of Hired Guns. As you can see, Tournament here, as it mentioned, was a time-limited season deal. Unfortunately, they no longer offer it, or at least they have not offered it for several years. It was supposed to be something that only lasted for between 4 and 6 months, and your goal was to try and become the highest standing in that universe before the end of that period. I think there were some sort of rewards that was given out. I never got high enough to ever achieve anything, and I wasn't willing to spend the extra money to really push it. Now, Stardrift Empires was a universe that they came out with in late 2012, which this particular wiki page does not go into, but it was essentially a visual redrafting of Starfleet Commander. That ended up having 2 universes for that, Stardrift Empires, Stardrift Empires 2. But that was the extent of it. But like I said, it was just a visual revamping, and it was done in conjunction with another company. Now that's going over the universes in general. Now let's take a look at the main page real quick to see what some of the stuff is here. This has game interface, the Starfleet universes, which we were just looking at. I had a quick start guide, information about planets, resources, missions, mines, energy, debris, buildings, research. As you can see, I've used the wiki a few times before, so that's what the darker purple is from. There's all sorts of stuff, and there's all sorts of frequently asked questions. And if you want to check this out, I highly encourage you do, and check out a lot of these things. There's awful lot of stuff that you can find on this stuff. Now, with that, going back to the universes, while they have the website, and you say direct link to the various ones here on the side, they still list the tournament. Do not click on the tournament. Emphasize again, do not click on tournament. That link is no longer functional. It is a defunct link. All the other universes are still good. In fact, this does not even have all the universes for Starfleet Commander. Since they've literally been coming out with a new universe roughly once every 6 months. I think the latest universe that came out that I saw pop up for a notification was Starfleet Commander Universe 11. Just to give you an idea. They're still producing new universes for Starfleet Commander, for the basic universe, for the Extreme, and for Nova. I think they're also producing new universes of Radion too, as well. That is. So you have all of those. You do not have. They might be producing new universes of Conquest. I'd have to go back through the list, but that's something to get into later on. For now, here's all this. A quick look here. Something that really helps you get an idea of what some of this stuff is. As there's no actual motion in the game, a lot of the displays will be the static one. Here's images of some of the ships that they have in the game. Most of these ships are unlockable within pretty much every universe, with the one exception of one of the fighters here. That fighter is the Vortex fighter. The Vortex fighter is only available in hired guns. That's the only place you can get it. It is not available in any other universe. So if you really want to get literally everything, you'd go for hired guns. The only downside is that hired guns does not have moons. So it's kind of a catch-22. It does have an extra option of what's referred to as territories. Now these territories have different things that you can do, including some of the things that you can do with the moon and on your regular colonizable planets. But that are regular colonizable planets in other universes. In the hired guns universe, everything is a lot more unique, and like I said, it's a lot more complex. It's really for the people that want to have a much greater challenge for doing stuff. All right, now as you can see, the larger ships like the Morris class and the Hades class are things that are a lot more expensive. They require higher researches. I think the Morris class battleship is still available in like Nova and Iradion, but I'm not sure if it's available in thing. Then you have the Prometheus class and Thanatos class destroyers, which are really powerful warships. The Hephaestus class attack platform, which is like this really, really huge vessel. Well, the interesting thing with that ship is that when you deploy it out, it takes up what's referred to as a planet slot, meaning that you only have a total of 9 planet slots, and you need one open to be able to deploy your Hephaestus class attack platform, which acts almost like a planet in a way on its own, to be able to deploy fleets to attack enemy strongholds and other various things. It is also extremely resource demanding, so you really need to be really high level for that. The Zeus class is basically this universe's equivalent to the Death Star. And in the image it kind of looks a little bit like that. I'm not sure, there's nothing in the game or anything that really gives you a sense of size so much as to just how big the Zeus class is, beyond the fact that the image shows those what looks almost like huge freighters. Those could be, but I'm not saying it definitely is, those could be one of the larger cargo haulers, like for instance back up here the Hercules class cargo, or even something similar to the Carmenor class cargo, though the image doesn't quite match up for any of that. The idea is that the ship is ridiculously huge. And if you look back on the Hephaestus class attack platform, you can see what looks almost like one of the ginormous Zeus classes partially docked inside the outer edges on either side. If you look at the small image there. And if you want another thing for size comparison a little bit, if you can, let's pull this up and get an image, look at the image. You can see in the front of this Festus class, that little red thing at the very front there, it seems to be flying out of it, and also out of what appears to be hangars along the one side there. Those are almost definitely supposed to be the Athena class battleships. So you're talking about battleships being able to easily fit inside the Hephaestus class attack platform, and it's kind of implied that those large bulges on each side of it could be Zeus classes that are docked with it. It's not a definite, but it's kind of implied. This here gives you various base ship specifications for what the ship comes out with at the absolute minimum, if you could get it at like almost instantly. But the thing is that the higher various researches are, like for instance research involving hull shield and weapons, and those increase the amount of hull shield and weapons that you have on each ship. Same with researching like jet tech or pulse drive or warp. Those also increase the speed of the ships that are equipped with those types of propulsion system, as it says here for engine type. Now you'll note that it's showing stuff like, for instance, the Impusa class has jet and Krug. That's referring to the fact that in most of the universes, all you have to use for upgrading its propulsion is researching the jet drive technology. And when you're playing hired guns, you have to have the alien space dock, or not the alien space dock, but the alien experiment territory, where you can research Krug technology. And some of them it's showing just like, for instance, Krug quantum drive, secret dark energy tech, and Urkath antimatter. I'm fairly certain I've seen in some of those other ships, like the Magnon and the Mantis, and the regular universe, for ships that can be unlocked. I'd have to go back and review it in the actual universes. Double check. But I'm fairly certain that the only ship that is unique to the hired guns at this point is the Vortex class. And that ship has... the Vortex class is a really fast fighter with a really high cargo space for it. So it's like the ultimate cross between a fighter and a cargo ship. Especially considering its cost. But that's all going to be in later videos for detailing with showing that stuff in the universes. You can see the ship requirements for what they cost here. There's all sorts of information on the wiki. I mean a lot. It even has rapid fire tables for what can rapid fire against what. Oh, you see how it says Nova there. Or everything past the word or Nova is ships that are only in the Nova and hired guns. Now, well, all these other ships here that are before Nova are stuff that are in literally every universe. Regardless. And again, as you can see in this rapid fire table, they don't show the Vortex class fighter. It's literally the only ship that is completely unique to the hired guns universe. You have ship engine types, and there's a ridiculous amount of information on this thing. Okay. Now let's go back up here. Yeah, you might have noticed something that said Alliance List. That's for her. There's some universes where alliances tend to be fairly consistent, and you can form an alliance with other players in the game. This game is, while it is a web-based game, it is also a massive multiplayer online game, or an MMO. That means that you are playing with other people. Now, not every universe is going to have a lot of people that are constantly active, but there are plenty of people that are active in the games. That can make it challenging. Older universes that still have active players that have been around for a long time, those players have a really high level of power. I mean, like, ridiculously high. I've played the games off and on, and frequently I've ended up leaving the game long enough that I actually end up having my initial account deleted and I have to restart from scratch. It's literally if you don't play the game for at least a week, you'll go into what's called idle mode. It's a lowercase I that will be displayed next to her name and whatnot in various different areas, including where your planet lists are. Which, take a look at that. Yep. You have universes, coordinates, and on your planets page you have just a large list of numbers up to 15 planets for each solar system. Your planet can be named by you, and otherwise they're just listed as home world, even if they're not actually your home world. And you have your colonies, and like this showed here, up here, this is the standard deviations and averages for a number of fields when you colonize a planet. And each planet is capable of developing all the same stuff. So let's say that you start out, let's say you get your starting planet and you then go through and you colonize another planet. You can do different things. You can even abandon your colonies if you want to. The downside of that is that you don't get any resources if you abandon the planet. You can even abandon your original planet as long as you have at least one colony. This is usually not recommended, as a lot of the universes, you can actually have, in some of the universes, you actually have it where your starting planet has either the max or near max number of fields. And fields determines how many structures you can build on a planet, which is what all this stuff is about. Again, if you're actually interested in this and you've stuck with me to this point, I highly encourage you to actually look over this stuff and see whether or not this might actually be a game of your interest. It is not a high action game. It is not high intensity. It is not first person. So it's not any kind of first person shooter or role playing game. So it's really limiting, on a lot of that stuff. Like it says here, abandoning. You have the abandon planet page. Here's an image of a typical the typical screen showing the galaxy. Pages going through. Some of the older universes, which have had their total number of players drop way down, the highest number of galaxies has been lowered down from the original. I think it was like somewhere around the neighborhood of 100 galaxy with 499 solar systems, each with 15 planet slots each. They went from that, and they've dropped it down to some of them down to only 5 galaxies with the same number of 499 planets, or 499 solar systems, I mean. It's with 15 planets in each. But that's usually because they've had so many, the total number of people in those older universes has dropped down to a point where it doesn't make any sense to keep it as such a huge universe. And they automatically, when they did that, they automatically shifted any planets that had players that were in the outer galaxies into the inner galaxies for free, as long as the people still had their accounts registered. Anyways, as I was saying about idle, a lowercase I indicates that the person has not been playing for a week. When you get that, the idle status, people who are many, many times larger than you can now attack you, even if you'd normally have had some sort of protection. The same goes if you've been idle for, I think it's roughly a month or something, and it goes to the big I. The big I for idle indicates that whoever account that is about to be deleted because they have not played for so long. As you can see, planet activity, there's different things that indicate this stuff. This will help you if you're trying to see whether or not people are playing. There are a bunch of achievements in the game, and a lot of the achievements that you can get are against active players. So attacking somebody that has an idle status next to their name will not give you certain achievements. As it shows here, player statuses, new player, diplomacy mode, vacation, and other stuff here. There's a lot of stuff here. And there's a huge number of things that you can do. Unfortunately, this is not some kind of real-time strategy game. So you can't go through and say you want to deploy your fleet towards an enemy planet. You can't control fleet formations or anything like that. All that stuff happens automatically based on computer algorithms and probabilities that they have for it. So there's no fleet maneuvering, there's none of that stuff. The one thing that you can do, for example, though, is if you're actively playing and you happen to log into the game and somebody is sending a fleet towards your planet to attack you, you will get an alert. well, towards one of your planets, you will get an alert saying that there's an incoming attack. If you have the ships to do so, you can literally send them out away from your planet and on a short mission, taking a significant portion of your resources away from the planet, so that way somebody who's attacking you will be less likely to actually get the resources. That sort of thing, though, means that you have to be actively involved in the game, and you have to actually be you doing stuff like what's referred to as fleet saving to keep your ships from being destroyed while you're away from the game. As you can see, now the lowercase n, and it's saying is newbie. It's not exactly newbie per se, being realistic. It's more that is an indicator that the person is a significantly lower level than you, and what's referred to as resource spend points. That's how they determine the level, is your resource spend points. And they are so far lower than you are, or for the lowercase n, that you're not normally able to attack them. The reverse is true for the capital N. The capital N indicates that a person is so much higher in level than you, based on the resource spend points, that it would be that their power is just beyond anything you can potentially match at your current state in the game. Now there's stuff about traveling distances, all that stuff. There's giving examples also for the formula for how different ships travel and their speeds. Like I said, this game has a lot. And there are multiple different universes, which they haven't really done much to actually update the universes beyond creating new universes every 6 months. So if you're interested, I suggest logging in. I suggest checking out the wiki, look over whatever you want to, check out the FAQ, or frequently asked questions, for a lot of information, and go through, like here it shows things, how can I get new colonies, how do I research technology, and all sorts of other stuff that's going to be here. On my next video, I will be going over, or I will actually be logging in, creating a new one, probably going back to the original universe, or just to give you an example. And I will be doing an introductory gameplay through for those who may be interested. That should be it for today. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And thank you again for your time. Alright, I guess I'll see you next time. Bye.